Hi, I'm Amanda from Life Unraveled, and we're here to unravel life's little mysteries. In this unit, we're looking at starting school. Let's look at preparing your child. How can you make sure that your child will be prepared and happy and ready to learn at school? Well, there are some really basic things that you can do that really help them to feel comfortable with that school environment. The first one is going to bed early. There is nothing worse than a child who is tired at school. They get upset, they get anxious, they get all sometimes hyperactive and naughty. They're really just not coping with school. And we want them to have a really lovely time at school and a happy time and a successful time. So the best thing you can do is make sure that your children go to bed early. 7:30, 8 o'clock is a really good time for little ones to go to bed. They shouldn't be staying up till 9 or 10 in the evening, unless if they go to bed at 10 o'clock, they wake up at 4 o'clock and they don't have any sleeps during the day, then that's the exceptional child. And I've only ever seen a couple of those kids in my lifetime. But most children need 10 to 12 hours sleep, and especially on school days. So make sure you get into the routine of going to bed early. On a Sunday night, it's very, very important that you make sure you go to bed early and that you get the kids settled and prepared, ready for the next day. Make sure that the night before you get their clothes out, so they just have to get up in the morning, get dressed, they can come down, they can have their breakfast, then they can go and clean their teeth. Now, whatever order you want to do it in, you need to do it in that same order every single day. And setting up that routine and having their clothes prepared the night before makes it so much easier and less stressful for you, because I know for me, sometimes I've forgotten to do the washing, or they've used their white socks during the weekend and I've come to Monday and gone, we've got no white socks left. But if you prepare it the night before, then you know on Sunday night, I've got no white socks, I've got time to wash and dry and get the socks ready for the next day. Because in the morning you're not going to have time to run and try and go and buy some more socks or something. And they really will feel very conscious if they are wearing red socks or black socks and not the school uniform. Also, if they're not wearing the school uniform, they often will get into trouble at school. So we want to make sure that everything is prepared the night before. Even if it's a Wednesday night or a Thursday night, make sure that they're ready for that next day, and they will feel a lot more comfortable and a lot more prepared for the exciting things that are going to happen in the day. Have a morning routine that you really stick to. Don't try and say, one day they get up and they can stay in their pajamas, they have their breakfast, they clean their teeth, and then they get dressed. And then the next morning you're saying to them, no, go get dressed before breakfast. They need to know what that routine is. I often find it's great to have a chart, so that on the chart they're looking at it and they're going, right, what's the next thing that we do? And on the chart you can have little pictures, because they won't be reading yet. So you'll have little pictures of a school uniform, and then you'll have a little picture of breakfast of bacon and eggs, and then you'll have a little picture of cleaning teeth. And then they can even tick it off as you go. I find laminators are so cheap at the moment. You can grab a laminator, get a sheet of paper, put it on Excel or even draw it up yourself. Put it on the fridge. There, you can buy stick-on magnets at most of the places now. Stick some magnets on the back, put it on the fridge, and with a whiteboard marker just tick it off as you go. When they've finished the whole week, if they get a sticker or a prize, and we'll talk about that later, then they've got it, then you wipe it off, ready for the next week. And that makes it really easy and cheap for you to have a chart and have it happening. Some people really like having the charts and keeping them and showing the children what the achievement that they've done over time. But I find the whiteboard marker works just as well. I've even seen someone using permanent ink on their fridge, drawing up a chart, and then the kids use a whiteboard marker to tick it off as they go. That also works really well. Try and have as much as you can ready for lunch. What we're trying to do is make sure that it's easy for them. Even they can get their lunch ready. I've seen a great YouTube video where someone had their lunches prepared and they did it the night before. They put all the lunches in little Ziploc bags, all the sandwiches. They had the fruit and they put them in containers in the fridge. And so the kids at the very bottom of the fridge. So the kids would come up and they'd grab a sandwich, grab a piece of fruit, grab a drink, put it in their lunchbox in there, and grab out of the freezer. They grabbed a cold pack, put it in their lunches, zipped up their lunchbox and put it in their bag. Making them self-sufficient at this age is really important because at school they're going to have to be self-sufficient. So if you're teaching that for them now and teaching them to get their lunches ready and helping them to learn those routines, that will make their life at school a lot easier because they can transfer that learning into the school environment so they can get their own resources ready, so their own pens and pencils and rubbers, and be ready to start that school activity. So you're helping them by getting them to get their lunch themselves. One, they become really, they own the lunch, so therefore they're more likely to eat it. Two, they feel very responsible and very grown up. And three, you're teaching them very healthy habits. The other thing that is so important, I can't emphasize it enough, is don't rush. So if you've woken up late once and you normally are fine, but just one time you've woken up late, you try and rush them, there'll be tears, there'll be tantrums, there'll be all sorts of issues. If you wake up every morning and you have to rush it through, like wake up late every morning, you've got to rush that routine, kids just don't cope well with that. They need time because if you think about it, they haven't zipped up a lunchbox as many times as you have. They haven't put their clothes on by themselves as many times as we have. So they need extra time to be able to do that thing properly. If you think about it, if you're doing something for the very first time, for instance, juggling, you really need time to think about what happens. You're throwing one ball up and catching it with the other hand while you're throwing it up, and you have to think through each process very slowly and consciously. And that's what the kids are doing when they're getting dressed and when they're getting ready. What's the next thing I have to do? Oh, how do I put a shoe on? How do I put my sock on? Which way does it go? How do I put my dress? Do I put my arms in first or my head in first? Or, so for them, that's what they're thinking. So they need time. If that means that you have to go to bed earlier, then you really need to just get your routine happening so you go to bed earlier. I used to find that when my kids came home from school, I gave them a main meal at 3:30, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And then they would have another meal, a snack with us when we sat down and ate as a family. So they were still getting that family meal, but they were getting their main meal at 4 o'clock or 3:30 when they were so hungry. So we would have a roast or spaghetti bolognese or a curry or something, noodles, pasta, something that they was substantial, that was their main meal. And what I found was that if they then fell asleep at 6 o'clock and we were going to have dinner at 7, then that really wasn't an issue. They had their main meal and they weren't hungry. It also helped that when they were really tired, that they could go to sleep a bit earlier and then they'd get a good night's sleep ready for the next day. So in essence, to make sure that you're prepared, don't give the kids too many choices either. make sure that they have a routine, and a routine means that this is the way we're going to do it, and we're going to do it in this order, and we do it in this order so that it makes it easy for us. And they need to learn what that means, that routine means. This video was produced by Imagination Pty Ltd for Life Unravelled. All advice and information given during this course is designed for general use only. If you have any concerns for your child, please seek professional advice as soon as possible. For terms and conditions, please see website www.lifeunravelled.com.au.